Hello, this is Lord Grasden, your Nobody Dragon, and this is a video about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Yes, one of many, I'm sure. But I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on the series, how I got into it, and my thoughts on, in particular, the final season, since the fifth generation is going to be starting soon. Something new, hopefully it's good. But, I got into the series. Originally, I was very dismissive of it. I was kind of like, little shit about it. But eventually, I was browsing the I Can Has Cheeseburger site. I'm old. And there were these memes that were popping up using stuff from My Little Pony. And it was funny, even without context. I was seeing these, and at first I would just like gloss past it, but it became so meme starved that I would look at everything and I was like, oh, these are funny, even without the context of the show. And eventually, excuse me, it got to a point where I decided, yeah, let's give it a watch. It was like a late night. It was around 10 or so. It was only the first season at the time, so this was back in a long time ago. I don't want to think about it. So I started watching the show, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and I'll stop watching when it stops being good. So I watched the first episode. As we all know, it ended on a cliffhanger, so of course, I was like, well, I can't stop now. So I kept watching. And I kept watching and watching and watching until eventually it was some ungodly time of not even the night anymore, it was the next morning. I was like, okay, I need to stop watching and go to the hell to sleep. So I went to sleep, and the next day I just kept watching it, and eventually I got caught up. And so I wasn't there from episode 1, but I was there from season 1. And yeah, the show just grabbed me, and it's just something really enjoyable to watch. And my stance was always, I'll stop watching when it stops being good. So I watched through the first season. Then season 2 came along, and it had the season 2 opener with Discord, voiced by John Delancey, basically being, Q. And that was amazing. So it's like, well, it doesn't look like I'll be stopping watching the show anytime soon. And kept watching, and it's like, making the way through season 2. What? Twilight has a brother? And, just going through it, and, I very much became a Roni. I got a little obnoxious about it, especially on Facebook. Like, I was posting a few too many memes that I found on, like, the MLP section of the I Can Has Cheeseburger grouping of websites. And, yeah, I just really enjoyed the show. Especially as the show went on, it became more, not really complex, but and it's not like the early stuff was badly written, but it just became more. And, I'm sure people who watch the show can agree with me, and maybe one of you can think of a better phrase for it. But, it just kept on getting better and better, in my opinion. Even season 3, when Twilight got her wings, and the community lost its mind, and people were like, oh, this is the end of My Little Pony, I'm quitting. I was like, I don't think it's bad, so I'm going to keep watching it. And I watched it, and I even watched the first Equestria Girls movie. I was like, ooh, this is side content, so it's not like I'm going to stop watching the show, but the first movie was not good. But then the second movie came out, Rainbow Rocks, and it's like, oh my god, this is great. It's Sunset Shimmer, great character now. What a turnaround. And it was just really, it was just a fun thing to watch season to season to season over the course of several years. And I especially, it was especially a nice thing to watch, during some of my down times in life to, pick me up, make me just be able to watch this story and see these characters and, think up like fan fiction ideas and all that kind of stuff. The fun of the community. And then I finished season 8, and season 9 was coming around, and I didn't watch it as it came out. And then it eventually got to Hulu, and I still didn't watch it. Not because I didn't like the show anymore, because I still did. But I hate seeing things end. So I held off watching season 9. I was like, if I don't watch it, the show's not over, Like, if I draw it out. Uh, but eventually, there was the announcement of... Well, I mean, there was the early announcement stuff for Generation 5, and I was kind of like, not paying attention. But then we got the trailer, somewhat recently, for the movie that's going to kick off Generation 5. And... Well, first off, the fact that, it's coming out so soon made me get off my butt and finally watch season 9. And there were many tears shed in several episodes, and it was a really great send-off. One slight personal complaint. Like, I would love a whole extra season of just the Student 6 and Starlight running the school with Sunburst and whatnot. But I also love the Student 6 characters, especially Gallus. He's my favorite. But I finally watched season 9, and it's like, this is the end. And of course, they do that. They have the big tearjerker showing the book from the first episode, opening, closing, and it's like, why are you doing this to me? But it was perfect. It was a perfect way to end things. And then, and I watched the trailer for the A New Generation movie. And my initial reaction was probably not the best, but after I finished watching it, I was like, alright, let me calm down. Because my initial reaction was probably what a lot of people had the reaction of, new thing back. Me no want new thing. Me only want old thing. And, but we gotta grow. And I watched the trailer again, and it was like, okay, this actually looks like it's gonna be good. Looks like it's gonna be funny. And the fact that it's a continuation and not a completely new thing definitely helps me be more interested in this generation going forward. I'm especially looking forward to seeing what they do with the Griffins. I hope that they're all like cool and noble and knightly, even though things are a bit more modern with the tech. But I don't know. That seemed to be the direction that Griffins seemed to be going with, like especially with Gallus's character, who's kind of like how Gilda started the representation of Griffins. Gallus kind of became the end representation of Griffins. So hopefully that keeps going. But anyway, enough of my nerding about Gallus. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the movie, and I hope that it's as good as the trailer makes it seem to be. And then, I'm gonna watch the show, and my stance on the show for Generation 5 is going to be the same as my stance for Generation 4. I'll stop watching it when it stops being good. And not every episode is going to be great. Even Generation 4, there were a few episodes that were maybe not bad, but definitely not to my taste. I wasn't a fan of the Breezy's episode, for example. That's probably not a hot take, though. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to Generation 5 and seeing where things go. And, alright, so, I hope you enjoyed my little, Ramblin' thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. That whole YouTube deal, yo. Have a good one.